How's going, guys? Welcome to the channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto got banished and unlocked the GundamWing Bloodline, Part 1. Huge shout out to Zero Arashi X2 for this story. If you wants to see awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get into the video. With Naruto now banished, and has nowhere to go, plans on making some visits to some villages he went to on his missions with his former team. Wondering, should he visit Wave? Or Snow Country? Maybe he'll visit Snow Country and might live there, as he walked, carrying his bag with all of his belongings. Life just wasn't fair to him. He did his job only to be banished, belittled by his team and berated. Tsunade couldn't even put up a backbone to overrule the elders and council that Naruto shouldn't be banished. He lived a life of hell, you could say. Only a few had said their goodbyes to him, and wished him well and prayed he would be safe. If anything, Sasuke should be banished for turning traitor. Sasuke always gets everything handed to him, while he has to work hard for it. None of that matters now. At least Naruto is out of the village, tired of seeing the glares he would receive in his early childhood. Because the Leaf Village just thrown away one of their loyal and most promising shinobi. And now he walks on to his free life. Snow Country 3 days later. Koiki, who is now Snow Country's daimyo and actress, is now managing affairs and business for her country. Sitting on her throne minding her own business, that is, until one of her maidens walked in. "Koiki-sama, you have a visitor that wishes to see you," said the maiden with Koiki looking at her. "Who is it?" "Whoever it is, tell them I'm a bit busy," said the daimyo of Snow. "It's Naruto Uzumaki, my lady," the maiden replied, surprising her. "What? Let him in," Koiki said, happy to see the boy who helped made her into who she is, as her maiden had just went to go retrieve the boy. A few minutes, Naruto was brought in as Koiki ran off her throne and hugged the boy. "It's so good to see you again, Naruto-kun. What a surprise! What brings you here?" asked the Snow daimyo, seeing him give her a sad smile. "Well, Koiki just thought I should visit and live here for a couple days," Naruto said as she frowned in confusion and noticed he was carrying a bag. "Live here? What are you dash?" Then she paused as she realized something else. He wasn't wearing his Konoha headband. "I've been banished," Naruto said, dropping the bomb, surprising her. "What?" she screamed, staring at him in shock as she then asked him what for. He answered her question and told her everything of what led to his banishment, that his teammate Sasuke had turned rogue and tried to go join Orochimaru for power. Which disgusted Koiki, but what angered her more was that Konoha banished her hero, and because of what she learned she was going to terminate the alliance with Konoha and send word to Wave as well about the news. "Naruto-kun, you are granted asylum here in Snow Country. You could live here in my castle," offered Koiki, seeing him smile at that. "Thanks, Koiki-chan, I am most appreciated," Naruto spoke as she called upon her servants to go prepare Naruto a personal room and have food ready for the boy. And so it begins. Naruto Uzumaki has officially moved to Snow Country and lives there. Since her country has yet to have a shinobi village, maybe once Naruto grows older she could convince him to be a Kage of Snow Country's first shinobi village. A few days later. It has been a few days since Naruto has made it to Snow Country. Lived there quite peacefully, has been doing some favors for Koiki. That was until the next day. Koiki has called him for something very important. Throne room. Naruto, of course, had arrived to her throne room to see what did she have for him. Once he made it, he was greeted by her and a scientist with a robotic arm wearing glasses. "Naruto, I would like you to meet Professor J. He and his colleagues are the top manufacturers of our technology and chakra armor. And he has a request for you." Koiki spoke with Naruto waving at him. "Nice to meet you, old man. So what's the deal?" Naruto asked, seeing Professor J smile at him. "Hello, young Naruto. Koiki-sama has told me a lot about you. I have come to offer you something," Professor J said with Naruto listening. "Okay. What's the offer?" Naruto asked. "I'm sure you're aware of our advanced technology. I was hoping if you would like to be honored to try one of first experimental tests." Professor J spoke with Naruto raising a brow, hoping it wasn't a bad vibe of experimenting like Orochimaru's. We are working on a project called Gundam. We were hoping of having a human being try out the procedure of having this bloodline we created called the Gundam Bloodline," Professor J said. "Professor, is this experiment safe?" asked Koki. She didn't want Naruto harmed by this experiment. "I assure you, my dear daimyo, that it is safe. We just need young Naruto here to be a test subject," said Professor J, assuring this to her. "I'll try this out," Naruto spoke up, getting a surprised look from Koki, with Professor J smiling. "Wait, Naruto, are you sure about this?" asked Koki, with him nodding. "I'm very sure about this. Besides, I just may like this bloodline," Naruto said. "Excellent, we will begin the process later on. I'll have everything ready," Professor J said, walking away. Koki had a worried look. She hoped this experiment that Professor J is planning doesn't hurt Naruto. Naruto doesn't seem worried about this, yet seemed interested about this Gundam project. Later on, Koki and her servants, along with Professor J, along with his other colleagues Professor G, Master O, Instructor H, and Dr. S, as the five all work together to create the Gundam bloodline. Naruto is currently strapped, and is inside a capsule of some sorts. "Alright, let's begin this process," said Professor J, now pressing a button as the capsule Naruto was enclosed, filled with water, wearing a mask on his face. "Begin the Gundanium feed," Professor J said as he pulled a lever. His other friends did the same thing as J pulled an extra lever. All 6 tubes filled with Gundanium all went into the capsule Naruto was in as the 6 injected Naruto's whole body with Gundanium, rearranged his molecules, as most of the Gundanium had entered into Naruto's QB seal. Naruto at this point was in pain as he felt everything in his body start to change. The capsule glowed green. Koki looked worried as she stares at the capsule Naruto was in. "Gundanium feed empty. We've poured it all," said Professor G. "I think the process is done. Get him out," said Master O. They instantly rushed over and opened the capsule before draining the water. Dr. S took the mask off of Naruto. "Naruto? Naruto, can you hear me?" Professor J asked. Naruto indeed opened his eyes. Gone were his blue eyes, but instead were replaced green. "Yeah," Naruto said, now getting out, struggling to stand. "How do you feel?" Instructor H asked this time as Koki came over. Naruto flexed his hands as he looked around with his green eyes. "I feel good," Naruto answered. "I'm so glad you are okay," Koki said, with Naruto turning to her with a smile. "Told you I would make it out of this. Now all I need to do is figure out the potential for this bloodline," he said as he looked inside himself in his mind, seeing 6 armored figures. He looked up at all 6 of them with green eyes just like his. And he knows their names. The first one is Wing Zero. The rest are Deathside Hell, Heavy Arms, Sandrock, Nataku, and Epion. He just may get to know these 6 new strangers in his mind that is surrounded around the QB's cage, who glared at the 6 new additional machines. "If you want Naruto, we can help you bring out the potential of our first ever Gundam bloodline by putting you through simulations," offered Professor J, with Naruto looking at him. "I'll accept that," Naruto spoke with a smile. And so it begins, the first ever person with a Gundam bloodline. The era of the shinobi nations just may change once Naruto learns control of his Gundam bloodline. Snow Country 5 days later. "This is marvelous. After all the data we've calculated, this is most impressive about the boy's internal body. His whole skeleton is Gundanium alloy. Even outside his body he doesn't feel any pain. His durability is immense," said Professor J, looking at the stats of Naruto Uzumaki and looking at the X-ray of Naruto's skeleton. "So we've created an artificial hybrid? With our bloodline we created, pondered Master O. "And he's doing quite fairly in our simulations," added in Professor G, looking at the recording of Naruto in the virtual simulation as the rest of the 4 came over and watched the recording. Naruto was blasting the enemies known as Leos with his Buster rifle. He is currently taking the form of an angelic machine with white feathered wings, a red shield, and holding what looks like a beam saber that was colored green as he hacked and slashed many Leos and also decimated a squadron of them with his Buster rifle. This form was called Wing Zero. He can even transform into an airship that's way advanced, taking the form of a jet. In the next video showed him in a different form. It was a dark steel machine with bat-like wings, with a buster shield mounted on its left arm, and it was holding a beam scythe. This menacing form was called Death Scythe Hell, as the Naruto who goes by Death Scythe Hell was invisible and cloaked, hiding from plain sight, only for it to reappear, and in one slash by the waist he destroyed a Leo, and launched his buster shield at a flying Ares which impacted and destroyed it as the shield returned to Death Scythe Hell. In the last clip it's shown that Naruto is up against 150 Leos. Naruto stands tall in another different form. The machine was dark green and wears a half-clown mask. Its arms both has dual miniguns, as this form was called Heavy Arms. Heavy Arms did an acrobatic flip in the sky and landed, unloading all of its dual miniguns and barrage of missiles at every Leo, destroying them in the process, as Heavy Arms kept firing and unloading everything it had in its arsenal. The Leos didn't stand much of a chance against this walking arsenal. The clip ended showing no more. So impressive. For the first 5 days he's only managed to go through 3 forms of his Gundam Bloodline, the Wing Zero, Death Scythe Hell and Heavy Arms. That boy really amazes us, doesn't he? Said Professor J with pride for Naruto, while his colleagues nodded to that. So where is our boy now? Said Instructor H. He's currently with our dear Daimyo Koyuki, answered Professor G. With Naruto. 5 days it has been since he tapped into his Gundam Bloodline. His appearance slightly changed. He may have green eyes like the Gundams in his mindscape, but has a golden V on his forehead, and on the sides of his head what looked like headgear guns. Having become only 3 of the Gundams, he still is getting more training and learning to tap into the other 3, Sandrock, Nadaku and Epion. Our Gundam hero is currently sitting down and eating lunch with Koyuki. You know, Naruto-kun, my offer for you to be Yukigekyu's first Kage stands until you are ready to lead it, said Koyuki, drinking her tea, smiling at him. Thanks, I might as well accept your offer, be the youngest Kage to run a village, Naruto said, eating his favorite, ramen. So about these Gundams in your head, do they talk? She asked, since he told her that the Gundams that are inside of him are sentient. They talk, only difference is that the most silent one is Epion, Naruto said after having a small talk with all 6 Gundams in his head. So as first Yukage, what do you plan to do? Koyuki asked. Well, not sure, I suppose I could gain an alliance of some sorts. Besides, I think need to put myself to the actual test instead of these simulations, Naruto answered. And what village are you asking for an alliance? Koyuki asked. Well, it sure as hell won't be Konoha. I could get one with Gaara, but I've been thinking, I heard Kiri is in the middle of a civil war, maybe I could help assist in the war, Naruto said, thinking that maybe helping Kiri won't hurt. Well then, Mr. Yukage, I hope you come back safely on your dangerous mission, Koyuki said, walking towards the boy, planting a kiss on his cheek, making him blush. Very well then. Mission accepted, Naruto spoke in a calm voice as he got up and went to get ready to go. Zero System, show me the location to Kiri, Naruto said, communicating with his AI, which is showing him the location. Alright. Wing Zero activate. He would transform into his first Gundam form, Wing Zero, as he transformed into a hover jet and flew straight into the sky in such great speed, flying across the nations just to reach to Kiri. He was going to put himself to the test. Kiri. Yagura and his army of Umbu and Shinobi are fighting the rebels in an all-out battle. Both forces were fighting in their final battle. That was until a flying object was coming their way, as it fired its cannons directly at Yagura's Umbu army, killing them on the spot as the hover jet transformed, now standing on 2 legs, metal feathered wings, a shield with a mounted buster rifle on its left arm. And out of its compartment a hilt came out as the angelic machine grasped it, and the hilt ignited a green light blade that made it look like a sword similar to the Nidaime Hokage's lighting sword. Wing Zero turned its attention on the Mizuki's forces. With the rebels. What is that thing? Asked a rebel. I've never seen anything like it before, spoke another. Is it an enemy? Or ally? Spoke a elite rebel. Its sword looks awesome, spoke Chojuro, who looked in awe at Wing Zero's beam sword. Its chakra is unnatural, unlike anything I've ever seen before, exclaimed Ao, who was looking at Wing Zero with his Byakugan. The Alban redhead woman named Mei Terumi, who is the leader of the rebellion, was looking at Wing Zero, also wondering, is this their help? She wished for before she went to battle, afraid that her and her rebels might not make it alive or survive this, considering Yugura is a Jinchuriki and could call on the power of his bijou. Has Kami finally answered my prayer for help? She thought, looking at the angelic machine. With Wing Zero. What is it? Asked the Umbu captain, looking at the machine in front of them. Wing Zero aimed its buster rifle at the group of Umbu, who looked shocked as it fired at them, erasing them on the spot. Attack it! Commanded Yugura as all of his forces instantly charged at Wing Zero. Wing Zero shot multiple times at the incoming army of Umbu, killing groups of them as they yelled and screamed in pain. It charged at the enemy Umbu, opened up 2 compartments of its chest with 2 Gatling guns, shooting any nearby Umbu as it charged, and slashed and hacked any Umbu close to it with its beam saber. The rebels? The rebels could only watch in shock and awe at how fast Wing Zero was decimating Yugura's forces in seconds. One thing they prayed: they hope Wing Zero ends up being their ally. Look at it go, said Chojuro. The weapons and power is just unreal, said a nearby rebel. Ao was just silent, watching Wing Zero take out Yugura's forces so quick. Mei herself still had a shocked expression. She most definitely has to get this machine as an ally when she becomes the new Mizukage. Wing Zero. Attack it with multiple water dragons, said a Jonin as he and a squad lined up and waved hand signs. Water style, water dragon jutsu! They yelled in unison, launching their water dragons all at Wing Zero, who raised its shield, blocking some, while the water dragons made a direct hit but received no damage. Those who used their water dragon jutsu barrage couldn't believe their eyes. Others tried using streams of water to hit at Wing Zero, only for it to not damage it. None of their water-based jutsus had no effect on Wing Zero, which made them tremble in fear. They tossed paper bombs, along with tossing kunai and windmill shuriken at it. The paper bombs and bombs made a direct hit, yet still no effect. Not even a scratch or dent or even explosion marks on it. The kunai and windmill shuriken couldn't even pierce or cut through its hard, immense Gundanium alloy. The Umbu looked truly terrified. This thing is invincible. None of their weapons or jutsu can't damage it. It's just stand there tanking all of their attacks. Just what is this thing? It's so powerful! Exclaims a Chunin. None of our jutsus or weapons can harm it, spoke a Jonin, who backed away in fear. Everyone remain calm. As long as we band together, we can take it from all sides, said a Umbu lieutenant. Are you crazy? There's no way in hell I'm fighting that destructive thing. I'm getting the hell out of here, shouted another Jonin, who instantly ran away. He and the rest, who secretly agreed with him, did the same thing. All ran, heading back into their village. You cowards! Get back here and hold your positions, shouted a Umbu captain, seeing the others start running as they ignored him. A female Umbu and her squad instantly backed away in fear and started retreating with those who couldn't bear to fight Wing Zero. Look! Shouted a Umbu, pointing at Wing Zero as those who didn't run turned their attention on it and widened their eyes. Wing Zero eyed them and aimed its buster rifle and charged it. Fully charged, it released a big energy beam, firing it directly at the Umbu and shinobi, who refused to run as they screamed once they were wiped out from the shot. Yugura, who has seen enough, decided it was time to step in and face this machine. He called upon his bijou's power and transformed into the 3 tails. The giant turtle glared at Wing Zero. Wing Zero now focused its attention on the giant turtle, and to everyone's surprise the machine also grew in size, which shocked them. Wing Zero readied its beam saber. The 3 tails roared and went into its ball form and looked ready to rev and charge itself into Wing Zero. The angelic machine hovered into the sky, flapping its wings along with its thrusters to help it fly and hover in the air, avoiding the incoming 3 tails as it charged yet missed Wing Zero. The beast wasn't in its ball form. Looking up, it noticed Wing Zero was in the sky. Growling, it spit a wave of water directly at it as it evaded the water, as it aimed its buster rifle, charging it up again to its full power. The beast narrowed its one eye and opened its mouth to charge up a tailed beast bomb. Everyone widened their eyes. "Everyone move now! Get a safe distance!" warned Mei as her and the rebels instantly did as she said, knowing exactly what was about to go down. Chances are that should those blasts, or worse the tailed beast bomb, even collide or hit, it could level the field they are on. She along with her men ran for their lives and reached for a safe distance. Wing Zero's Buster rifle was fully charged to its full power. Three Tails fully charged up its beast bomb. Both released their attacks, as they both collided, causing shockwaves. The beast bomb was pushing beam blasts back at Wing Zero. However, Wing Zero fired again, increasing more power to the beam blast as it started to push the beast bomb back at the Three Tails. He inputted more energy into his Buster rifle as it increased 5 times its power, which successfully pushed back the beast bomb. The Three Tails looked shocked as it barely had no time to move as its own attack and the beam blast from the Buster rifle struck it, leaving a giant explosion and giant crater. A explosion cloud clouded the battlefield. No one couldn't see anything. Once the cloud started disappearing, the Three Tails looked weakened, its shell was damaged, it lost its arm, as it laid there burned and wounded greatly, as it reverted back into Yagura, who laid there in near death, as he saw Wing Zero change its size to human-sized and walked towards Yagura. He gave a weak smile and sad expression. "Thank you, whoever you are, please finish me off," Yagura said in a weak voice. "Mission accepted," said Wing Zero for the first time. And Wing Zero has Hero's voice. It readied its beam saber and impaled Yagura's heart, killing the young Mizukage. "Mission complete," said Wing Zero as it suddenly started to revert back into Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto himself fell on one knee, feeling tired from all of that. As he looked ready to pass out, he turned his vision to the incoming rebels with Mei running to him first. His vision was getting blurry as he fell passed out. Mei instantly ran to him, had held him up looking at him. She was too surprised. A boy, a mere boy. Was that thing? Chojuro and Ao looked even more shocked. As they looked around their environment, seeing the giant crater, many dead Umbu, dead Jonins, Chunins, even Yagura, and his tailed beast. They had to process what was just revealed and witnessed. "A kid did all of this?" asked Ao, who was in complete disbelief. "This boy is our hero." "Ao! Chojuro!" said Mei as the two stood in attention. "Yes, Mei-sama?" they both said in unison. "We're taking him with us to the village. To our hospital for him to rest. Once he wakes, I must talk to him and thank him for helping us. This is my first order as Godame Mizukage," Mei declared as she laid him down. "He's so cute, though," thought Mei, looking at his face and appearance, watching a few of her men pick up the boy and put him on a stretcher. Kiri Hospital. It has been a day since Naruto was out, as our hero is currently still resting, a bit exhausted from becoming Wing Zero. So he saved Kiri and ended the purge by killing the Yondaime who ordered the purge in the first place. Guess he owed it to Haku, as he recalled how her family and clan had been purged by all of the Mizukage Sambu. He slightly cracked opened his eyes, looking around his surroundings. From the looks of it, he seems to be in a hospital. "Ah, so you are finally awake," said a voice that made him turn to his left as he saw Meitomi looking at him with a smile. "She's the woman I saw coming towards me when I passed out," he thought, looking at how attractive she was. "So can I get the name of my hero who helped and saved us?" asked Mei with the ever-seductive smile on her face, eyeing the boy. "Naruto Uzumaki," he answered, seeing her raise a brow. "Uzumaki? Cute name. Now why does that last name seem so familiar? Hard to believe to meet another Uzumaki," she said, now seeing him have his full attention on her. "Another? Are you saying there are others?" he asked, seeing her frown. "You don't know? Surely you should know that you are from a clan of famous seals masters, right?" said Mei with him, shaking his head. "No, I'm an orphan actually. I didn't know I had a clan to begin with," Naruto said with surprise. "What village are you from?" she then asked as he sneered. "Konoha," was his reply. "Seriously? Konoha? I don't see the headband," she spoke. "That's because I'm banished," he replied in a monotone. Banished for what exactly? She then asked as he eyed her and began telling her the story of how he was banished for doing his job, which surprised her and made her disgusted with Konoha. You fools, you banished a damn good shinobi. Just because he defended himself and yet completed his mission. And this is how Konoha repay their shinobi? No alliance with them in the future, were Mei's thoughts and disgust for Konoha. So have you found you a place to stay at? I would gladly welcome you to Kiri in open arms. For what you have done, she offered, seeing him shake his head. Thanks for the offer, but I've already found me a place to live, currently moved in snow/spring country. And is the future Shodame Yuckage? He said with her pouting, which he liked. I was hoping that you could join us. But I suppose an alliance with Spring Country and your village would be nice? Said Mei with a sultry smile. That's a start. My new village and country would gladly accept your alliance and help you, Naruto said with her, smiling more. Your name? He asked as she blinked and then blushed in embarrassment. Oh, where are my manners? My name is Mei Terumi, the new Godame Mizukage. She introduced herself. Pleasure meeting you, Mei-sen. So tell me, the Uzumaki clan is real? Naruto asked as she nodded and began telling him about Yuzu. Since she herself was little, when she learned about the Uzumaki clan, she would tell them that a combined alliance of Kiri, Kumo, and Iwa teamed up to destroy Yuzu, yet she wasn't a part of it because she was a little girl at the time. So Konoha knew, meaning that they probably erased any knowledge about the Uzumaki clan. Did the Sandaime knew? Tsunade? Kakashi? Or Jiraiya? Why wasn't he told this? He was kept in the dark about his own clan, and that he himself is the last member of his clan. Mei told him it was unknown if any Uzumaki survived the purge. Some either died or went in exile hiding. Just what else is everyone hiding from him? Just what else? Mei, who was busy looking at Naruto, she gave him a long look, as if she was studying his appearance. That blonde hair. Surely she has seen that blonde hair anywhere. She didn't want to assume too much, but something was telling her that this boy is related to Konoha's yellow flash. Naruto-kun. That form, that machine you was? What was that? Mei asked, seeing him now turn his attention to her. My bloodline. It allows me to become a Gundam. That form you saw was Wing Zero. I have 5 other forms, Naruto said as she looked surprised as he explained his bloodline more. So now what will you do? Mei asked. Well, I have to head back. Koyuki-chan is waiting for me, Naruto said with her, feeling a bit jealous about who this Koyuki-chan was. Wait, Naruto-kun, there is something I want to give you, Mei said with him, looking surprised. What is it you want to give me, Dash? He said, but couldn't finish as Mei had kissed him on the lips, which shut him down. Spring Country. Koyuki twitched her hand as a vein popped on her head. Why did she feel angry all of a sudden? As if someone stole something from her. Konoha. Hinata suddenly felt a disturbance in the force, as if someone had kissed her banished crush, as she unknowingly destroyed a training dummy with her Juken strike, surprising her teammates and sensei. Whoever the hussy that kissed my Naruto-kun will suffer greatly, were Hinata's thoughts, with her Byakugan blazing with fury. Back with Naruto. Naruto looked completely taken back by that, as he was kissed on the lips by an older woman. She broke the kiss, looking at him. What was that for? He asked, not that he was complaining he liked the kiss. That was for helping me. I am eternally grateful. I'm so looking forward to seeing you again, Mr. Yuckage, Mei said with a lusty smile and gave him a wink. He blushed a bit. No problem, was his simple answer. Later on, Naruto would transform back into Wing Zero, and transformed into his jet form and flew off, leaving the stunned crowd. Mei was watching with a smile on her face. Ayo! Mei called out. Yes, Mei-sama, he said with his attention on her. I want spies in Konoha. I want to know everything about Naruto Uzumaki. Have our spies obtained a sample of Naruto's blood along with Yondaime Hokage's blood? She commanded as Ayo looked surprised while she turned and frowned. Don't just stand there, do it! She yelled, seeing him nod, and went to go do as she commanded. She needed to confirm her suspicions if what she's trying to link is true. She needed to know if Naruto Uzumaki truly related to Konoha's Yellow Flash, because if it's true then that means she's found her future husband. I can't wait for us to meet again, Naruto-kun, Mei thought. Spring Country. Naruto had returned. He accomplished his mission and got Kiri as an alliance to Spring Country. Koike was pleased, and what made her even more happier was that he agrees to finally become Yukage. In the next few days, a coronation was held for Naruto in the village called Yukigekure, the first Shodaime Yukage. The people of the village adored their new Yukage, who was wearing the hat like all Kages wear yet didn't wear the robes. Now, as his first day as Yukage, it was time to finally mange his village, try to make allies and new friends. He still has a lot to learn to master the other Gundams. The 5 scientists who gave Naruto the Gundam Bloodline are currently making mobile suit dolls, bringing them to life from their simulations. As of right now, a new age was coming. Months later, on the border to Kumo, you could see a blonde-haired woman battle 2 Akatsuki members. This woman was named Yujito Ni, holder of the 2 tails. She was struggling against the 2. "We got you now, Nibby bitch!" shouted Haiden. "Damn it! I'm beat. How is it that I've lost?" thought Yujito, who is currently on the ground in her own puddle of blood as she saw Haiden and Kakazu approach. "Heh heh heh. Any last words before we enjoy taking your tailed beast?" said Haiden, holding his triple-bladed scythe. Yujito responded by spitting in his face, giving a vindictive look. "Fuck you!" she hissed, making him angry as he prepares to slash his scythe at her. "You little bitch, how dare you spit on me!" he yelled. "Haiden, enough! We need her alive. Pain-sama will not be pleased if you kill her before we remove her tailed beast," Kakaza said, reminding him, but the Jashin priest just didn't give a damn. "Oh, so fucking what? Just let me cut off her legs," he shot back. Yujito closed her eyes, knowing this was going to be painful. Just when Haiden looked ready to cut her legs off, he was shot, being pushed back. "What the hell?" he shouted in pain, with Kakaza looking around. Yujito looked surprised too. "Where did that come from?" Kakaza asked him. "I don't know, but whoever the fuck did that better come out here and face me. Stop hiding like a pussy," Haiden yelled angrily. Uncloaking itself, it revealed Death Scythe Hell, with its beams scythed out. "What the fuck is that?" questioned Haiden, having never seen something like this before. "I don't know, looks like trouble," Kakazu answered as he prepares his Jianga Jutsu and ready his hearts. Yujito could only look in awe. Has someone come to save her? "Alright, you motherfreaker, so it was you that did this to me," Haiden yelled, pointing to the bullet holes in him. Death Scythe had remained silent as it stood there menacingly with its scythe ready. "Can't talk, huh? Prepare to feel the might of Jashin-sama, weakling," Haiden roared, charging at Death Scythe, who also charged. They charged past each other after they exchanged blows with their scythes. Only difference was that Death Scythe Hell felt nothing, not even a scratch on his Gundanium alloy. Haiden, on the other hand, groaned in pain as his scythe had shattered, and that he was cut in half. Not from the waist down, but vertically into 2 halves, that it actually killed him. Both Kakazu and Yujito, who witnessed it, could only look shocked. "Impossible! He killed Haiden in 1 blow," thought Kakazu, who backed away in fear as he noticed Death Scythe Hell turned its attention on him. Kakazu felt the need to escape, only for him to use one of his masks to fire a fire bullet at Death Scythe Hell, who tanked it, of course. And to his surprise, it didn't even faze it, not even a scratch or burn mark on it. He widened his eyes as he saw Death Scythe Hell charge at him, firing its headgear Vulcan cannon guns at Kakazu, who evaded it and dodged as he began running. But Death Scythe Hell wasn't going to let him get away that easily. He raised its left arm and launched its Buster Shield as it flew so fast that it had impacted and went through Kakazu's back, making a big hole through the money-hungry bounty hunter. Kakazu let out a pained scream as all his hearts had been destroyed from that attack. Death Scythe Hell came up behind him and beheaded Kakazu and then sliced down his whole body into pieces. Yujito looked horrified at what she saw, as she saw Death Scythe Hell come to her, putting away its scythe. "WH, what are you?" she asked in fear, seeing it stare at her. Just a friend. Death Scythe replied as she passed out. He picked her up as he spread his bat wings and took to the sky, heading back to Yukigekure, leaving the dead bodies of two Akatsuki members along with Yujito's Kumo headband. Konoha 5 years later. 5 years it has been, 5 years of Konoha losing its spotlight and glory. It was just a former shell of itself. Why was this? Because Konoha has done wrong to one individual they banished. And that individual to an extent was one, Naruto Uzumaki. Banished him for doing his job, banished him for defending himself. It had caused a major backlash to Konoha. When word got out about the boy's banishment, it did not go well for Konoha. Multiple alliances that Naruto brought to Konoha reacted on the banishment. Spring Country was the first. Koyuki had instantly terminated her alliance with Konoha. And she was the one responsible for informing Wave, Suna, and a few other minor villages and lands about Konoha banishing Naruto for doing his job. She no longer wanted nothing to do with Konoha and told them that she was truly disgusted at them, and she even gave a warning to Tsunade and those in Konoha that if she so much as spot any Konoha shinobi on her lands will be arrested by her samurai and executed on the spot. And to top it off, she refused to star in the Ika Ika movie Jiraiya had wanted. That was a big loss, without Spring Country as their ally, meaning that Spring will not share any of their technology, chakra armor, weapons, volley guns and etc. Certain power-hungry counselors and a power-hungry warhawk were angry to hear that, knowing without all of that they could never strengthen Konoha with such power and weaponry. Then Suna reacted to the banishment. Gaara, who became the new Godame Kazekage, had also terminated Suna's alliance with Konoha. He was very furious when he heard from Koyuki and had terminated their alliance on the spot. Then Wave Country were angry, no furious, and on the spot they declined all trades with Konoha, refusing to no longer ally with a village who banished their hero for doing what was right. Even Wave Country had threatened Konoha that if they catch any Konoha shinobi or kunoichi setting foot on their country or bridge, will be sent back in a body bag. Tea Country, Vegetable Country, and even Taki Village had terminated their alliances with Konoha altogether when the news spread like wildfire. Such a heavy loss, they lost every alliance they could call on for help. And what's worse was when the Fire Daimyo heard the news after receiving multiple messages from all the alliances Naruto had made with Konoha, he became so embarrassed and angry with Konoha that he himself, along with his Guardian 12 and army of samurais, had went to Konoha and questioned the Hokage and council of why did they do such a thing. Tsunade couldn't bring herself to answer, and as for the council, they said that he was too dangerous and that they harmed the last Uchiha. The Fire Daimyo, of course, had cut Konoha's fundings short and had given missions to Suna or Kiri. After ranting for hours and how truly disgusted he was with the village, he left and never spoken to them again after that. For the first time, Konoha was truly alone. They had no alliances left to support and help them in their time of need. And their daimyo has cut their fundings and forsaken them, and does not want to support them. And right now, Iwa and Kumo had formed an alliance with Orochimaru to destroy Konoha now. Konoha had tried getting an alliance with Kiri, but their alliance was shot down too quick when the new Mizukage Materumi heard of Konoha pleading for an alliance, only for her to instantly shoot it down. Konoha was now done for. They had no one to help them. And they lost their alliances all because they banished a promising shinobi. It just wasn't fair to them. Is this the karma they are receiving? Why? Why was Kami hating them? Why was Kami not answering their prayer to help them or ask why is this happening to them? Without Naruto Uzumaki, their village was doomed. As for those who missed Naruto, who consisted of Iruka, the Ichirakas Shikamaru, Choji, Hinata Shino, Lee, Tenten and Niji, even the misfits Konoharamu, Moegi and Udan. They missed Naruto and wished they could see him again. Those who didn't were Sakura, Ino, Kakashi and Sasuke. Team 7 and most likely Ino had been isolated by everyone. The Jonin senseis refused talking to Kakashi, even Guy wanted nothing to do with Kakashi. Ino has been isolated by her own teammates and sensei because she berated Naruto and bad-mouthed him. Shikamaru stood up to her and ridiculed her for how she is. Choji also joined in on the ridicule and surprisingly for once wasn't eating a bag of chips during the whole rant. Shikamaru even went so far as to call Ino a pathetic excuse for a kunoichi. which did hurt her feelings and most likely made her open her eyes, and days later she finally grew up and no longer interested in Sasuke. Sakura Haruno had been isolated by everyone including Ino. She, along with Kakashi and Sasuke, would be pranked on hard by Konoharamu and the Misfits. Hell, even Wave had sent personal messages to her, Sasuke and Kakashi. All the alliances had their fair share of sending threats to Team 7 of how they treated Naruto. Sakura had tried to get training and to become Tsunade's apprentice, only for the Senju lady to decline and told Sakura that Tsunade only wants real hard-working kunoichis, not fangirls. And Tsunade is already training a new apprentice. And that was Hinata Hyuga. This of course made Sakura jealous and angry that Hinata of all people had stole her right to be Tsunade's new apprentice. And to make all hell break loose, Sakura had bad-mouthed Naruto right in Hinata's face, and started saying she was glad that good-for-nothing idiot is gone, and finally out of her hair, and that she would never forgive Naruto for harming her, Sasuke-kun, and that Naruto would be better off dead now that he's banished and alone. As soon as Sakura kept ranting and bad-mouthing Naruto and blaming him for everyone sending her threats and the loss of so many alliances they had, a fuse had blown in Hinata's emotions as the shy and quiet Hyuga princess had literally lunged at Sakura and began to beat her within an inch of her life. She had beaten Sakura so badly to the point that Sakura lost a few teeth and had broken bones within her body. Hinata was so ballistic that it took Tsunade, Shizen and Kurenai to hold Hinata back from killing Sakura and calm the Hyuga girl down. After that incident, Sakura had been put in the hospital. Tsunade refused healing her and said, "You had it coming for a long time." Shizen didn't even want to heal the girl because Sakura was downright wrong for what she said and done about Naruto. Sakura cried and had been heartbroken that she had no one left but her family to support her. Sasuke Uchiha is currently on house arrest and has his Sharingan sealed, including his curse seal. Angry that he was denied his chance of avenging his clan, and can't train with his sensei Kakashi for what he attempted to do. And it wasn't enough that Tsunade had Team 7 on D ranks for years to come due to how they treated Naruto. Konoha and its people who wronged Naruto are definitely in the wrong for banishing Naruto Uzumaki. Aim. Sasori and Deidara, you two will now go after the Ichibi in a few days, said Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki, as both members nodded and decided to leave to carry out their mission. So far they captured the 6 tails and 3 tails and 4 tails, even the 8 tails. These 5 years were the only Jinchuriki they captured. 7 tails, 2 tails, 5 tails along with Ichibi and Kyubi were the only ones alive at this point. And what's worse is that they are short on members. Losing Kakazu and Haiden was a big loss to them, and no one knew of the culprit who killed the immortal duo. And that they lost the 2 tails that day too, who mysteriously disappeared. Weeks later, after Kakazu and Haiden's death, the 7 tails and 5 tails disappeared also. It was odd, even the Kyubi Jinchuriki disappeared off the face of the elemental nations. It was disturbing, of how the Jinchuriki vanished like that. Where could they be? Who killed Kakazu and Haiden? Hopefully their answers will be answered. And hopefully Deidara and Sasori will be successful in capturing the Ichibi. Konoha. The Kazekage has been kidnapped. We just received a message from Temari, shouted Shizen. What? Spoke Tsunade. Get me Team 9 and Team 7, Tsunade demanded, with Shizen giving her a strange look. Why Team 7? What about Team 8? Shizen replied. Team 8 is currently handling their own mission right now, and Team 10 is also out on a mission as well. I have no choice but to send Team 7. If both teams become successful, we could probably gain an alliance with Suna to help us fight against Orochimaru's alliance, since he allied with Iwa and Kumo. Tsunade explained, with Shizen frowning. Team 7 really doesn't deserve a chance. Shizen spoke, but Tsunade cut her off. Shizen, I know, I don't like this any more than you do, but Suna needs all the help we can offer to them. We need to get an alliance with them again, said Tsunade, with Shizen still frowning as she left to go do as she was told. She didn't like this, but she needed to save this village and defend it from Orochimaru's forces along with his alliance. And since they lost all their alliances due to banishing Naruto, it was the least she could do to get a final attempt in gaining alliance with Suna help them fight this war. But should Suna still decline? Not that she blamed Gaara, knowing Naruto was the one who changed who he is. Her thoughts had shifted to Naruto, wondering where is he. Jiraiya had told her that Naruto, along with Kumo's two tails, Nanabai from Taki and Gobi from IWA, had vanished mysteriously and hasn't been heard of. Which was disturbing, and the Akatsuki were short on members. She heard a rumor that both Haiden and Kakaza, members of the Akatsuki, were killed in the Kumo borders by something mysterious. The Jinchuriki had vanished off the face of the elemental nations. She sighed, worried about Naruto, and had hoped he was okay. Jiraiya would report to her soon to see if he got anything from his spy network. Snow Country. Yugakure village of snow/spring. Naruto, who is currently at Koiki's daimyo castle, spending time with her as he left a shadow clone at his office to do the paperwork. Both on the balcony looking at the view, along with a factory that's currently building mobile suits and more technology for their land. For their organization called the White Fang. Naruto, of course, is the leader of the organization, and has recruited members to join his organization. The first recruit was Yujito Ni. When he saved her from the Akatsuki, she was totally taken back that he was that machine that killed both Akatsuki members. In his debt, she joined Snow Country and his newly created organization. She currently mains the first Zoid model that the scientists who are working on, the Liger Zero model. And of course, she was starting to develop feelings for Naruto and had asked Koiki, the Spring Daimyo, to join in on their relationship, which she allowed since Naruto is currently last of his clan. He not only has the hearts of Koiki, Mei, and Yujito, but also Fu from Taki. Fu was the next person to be recruited in the White Fang organization. She left her village to join him since Taki and Snow Country became allies, so she joined his organization and relationship, and she is the pilot of Green Zaku model. Han, Iwa's Gobi Jinchuriki, had left IWA after learning of what has become of Arashi, who had been captured by the Akatsuki. He vowed to avenge his friend and went to join this White Fang organization. He is piloting the destroyer DOM model mobile suit. Though there are other members of the White Fang, and they are a military branch called OZ. Tries Kushonada, leader of OZ, along with his Colonel Lady Un and Sally Pa, who is ranked major, had allied themselves with the White Fang and became members. For these past 5 years they are developing their village, their land, alliances, and military power that would even make Kumo's military force look like a joke. With advanced weaponry and technology, you could say Snow Country is a force to be reckoned with that much power they have. Not to mention Naruto, who is their leader, is in fact a Gundam and first artificial creation. The first alliance was indeed Kiri, along with Wave, and many other, with the exception of Suna. Naruto will form an alliance with his old friend, and as a gift he will give Gaara the Maganak Corps, a desert battalion of mobile suits who specialize combat in the desert as further protection to protect from Suna's enemies. Rashid Kurama, leader of the Maganak Corps, is honored to be head of security of Suna and to serve Gaara. Koiki would look at the now 16-year-old Naruto with a smile on her face. Their relationship had increased. Before one of them could speak, Naruto's wrist comm had beeped. "What's the situation?" Naruto asked. "Naruto-sama, our drones has reported that the Kazekage has been kidnapped by the Akatsuki," spoke Colonel Un as shock was shown on Naruto's face. "I'll depart immediately to Suna, inform Rashid Kurama to gather his corps. We're leaving to Suna in 5 minutes," Naruto said. "As you wish, sir. Over and out," Lady Un said. "Duty calls. Koyuki-chan. I'll be back before dinner," Naruto said, kissing her cheek with her blushing and kissing him. "Be careful out there," she warned, smiling as he nodded. And right on time, in 5 minutes, Naruto transformed into Sandrock, as he and the Maganak Corps all left Snow Country and are en route to Suna. Konoha. Team 7 and Team 10 had just recently left to go save the Kazekage since Tsunade told them the situation. This is their last chance in getting an alliance with Suna and hoped to Kami that they could pull it off. Suna. Team 7 and Team 9 had made it to Suna in assistance to save the Kazekage. As they both entered in the village, Kakashi and Guy are currently in charge of the situation. Team 7. Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Sai Naruto's replacement. Team 9. Lee, Tenten, and Niji. Tsunade had sent them to go help the Kazekage in hopes of gaining an alliance with Suna. Temari had hated to ask Konoha for help, but what choice did she have? There was no one else she could turn to. She, like Gaara, didn't like Konoha for banishing Naruto. But with the Akatsuki coming here kidnapping him, she had no choice but to get. After telling them everything, they assessed the situation by planning on how to get Gaara back and track the two Akatsuki members. Baki, her sensei, barged in. "We have more company! Giant machines are here at the village gate," he said with their eyes widening, hoping it wasn't another invasion. They all went to go see what machines were they talking about. At the village gates, the villagers of Suna were in awe seeing the machines. Temari and Ko made it, and could only be amazed at what was before them. The one in front of the tan-colored machines has two curved blades and a projectile weapon on his side. Which seems to be the leader? Sandrock looked down towards Temari, Baki, Teams 7 and 9. Tenten drooled at Sandrock's curved blades. He focused solely on both teams with silence. "It that thing looking at us?" asked Sakura, who flinched at the stare from the machine. It turned its sights back on Temari and pointed to her. She looked confused. "Come!" Sandrock spoke in the voice of Cotter. That made everyone jump. It could talk. Temari sweated as she walked towards it as it laid its hand down for her to walk on, which she did as he lifted her up to his face, both seeing eye to eye and face to face. "Where is Gaara?" Sandrock asked, looking at her with his green eyes. "Taken by two Akatsuki members. They went that way," she explained, pointing the direction of where the Akatsuki had gone to. "Who are you?" she asked, wanting to know why was this machine interested in her brother. "I am Sandrock. And these men behind me are the Maganak Corps, my men. We are here to rescue Gaara," he said, with them wondering who is he to Gaara. "Why do you care about Gaara? We never met you before, and I'm sure Gaara has never met you before either," Temari says with a glare. "I am a friend of Gaara. When I rescue him, then you will know who I am," Sandrock says as he put her down and turned towards his men. "Set a perimeter around here and guard this village. I will return shortly," he said, walking off to go after the Akatsuki members as the Maganak Corps nodded and got into positions holding their guns. "Hey, where does he think he's going? He's taking our mission away," growled Sasuke. "I don't know. It's best we not provoke him or his men. Let's just wait and see what he does," Kakashi says. "Is that machine friend or foe, though?" asked Niji. "Beats me. He claims he's Gaara's friend. And we don't know who he is," spoke Tenten. "Let's hope our metal friend is youthful," spoke Lee. With Sandrock, he tracked and followed where the Akatsuki had taken Gaara as he drawn out his curved blades. He went over and finally detected a cave that looked like it was sealed shut. He walked towards it and raised both blades in the air, heating them up as he sliced into the entrance, surprising the Akatsuki. "What the hell is that?" Deidara said, with Sasori looking shocked at what was before them. "Sasori, Deidara! Stop it! Don't let it ruin the extraction!" spoke Pain in his projection. Both of them nodded and began to attack Sandrock. Deidara threw his clay bird bombs at the Gundam and hit it on direct impact. "Ha!" he said, only to lose his smile when the smoke cleared and saw that the Gundam looked unscathed. His art didn't affect it. "That's impossible." Sasori sent his puppets at it only for the Gundam to charge and swipe its blades at every puppet, slaying them. Deidara, becoming more frustrated, sent more and more clay bombs at Sandrock, as it did no damage on the Gundam. As Sandrock fired his headgear guns at Deidara, who dodged and took cover as Sasori was also dodging and evading them. Sandrock heated up its blades and thrusted its boosters to charge at Sasori, and in a quick flash and blur Sasori was sliced in two halves and burned. Deidara, who couldn't believe his partner was ended like that, he decided it was time for him to flee. He created large clay bird and hoped on it and took off. Sandrock locked onto Deidara and launched two rockets from its shoulders to follow Deidara. Looking shocked, Deidara widened his eye seeing the rockets come close to him, and they impacted upon him, leaving an explosion that rained Deidara's body parts. Finally killed Deidara, Sandrock steps on the remains of Sasori, crushing anything that remained of him. As he found Gaara and picked him up. Please hang in there, Gaara, said Sandrock as it left the cave. Suna. Sandrock had returned with Gaara as the villagers, and anyone couldn't believe it. You saved Gaara? What happened to the Akatsuki? Asked Temari, very happy of seeing her brother. The Akatsuki are no more. I killed both of them, Sandrock replied, surprising her. Team 7 and Team 9. How did he do it so easily? Just who is Sandrock? Suna Gates. Sandrock looked at all the villagers, including Team 7, Team 8, along with Temari and Baki, along with the old woman who looked in awe at the machine that stares at them. Who is this giant machine? How did he overpower 2 S-rank missing Nin? He laid Gaara down in front of the crowd as Temari checked on her brother and looked up at her brother's savior. The Gundam shrunk to the size of a human, looking at the surprised group that it could change its size. Now that you saved Gaara, will you tell us who you are? She asked. I'm afraid I can't do that. Not until Gaara is awake, and it must be private, says Sandrock with her frowning, then nodded as they decided to take Gaara away. Just who do you think you are taking away a mission meant for us? Growled Sasuke, glaring at Sandrock. Yeah. We had this under control. And here you come taking our mission to save the Kazekage. Sakura agreed. Sandrock just stares at them, not going to answer or speak to them. Answer me, you dumb machine! I know you can talk! Yelled Sasuke, with Sandrock ignoring him as the Gundam walked forward, heading to the Suna hospital. You dare ignore me! Before Sasuke could charge at Sandrock, the Maganak Corps aimed their rifles at Sasuke as the Uchiha froze in place, seeing those weapons aimed at him. Sasuke, get back here! Kakashi said, with Sasuke stepping away from Sandrock as he glared at the machine that continued to walk. The villagers could only glare at the Konoha Nins. Nice going, now look what you did, Niji says with a glare. Guy could only shake his head while Tenten glared at Sasuke and Team 7. Lee could only frown. After that, Sandrock went to the Suna hospital, knowing he will have to meet with Gaara and Temari in private to reveal who he really is. He couldn't risk himself to reveal his real look in front of the Konoha Nin. The next 3 hours. Gaara wakes up and looks around, realizing he's in the hospital, and notices Temari sees him, and looks at a strange machine looking at him also. Temari, what has happened? And who is this? Gaara asked, looking at Sandrock, with Temari frowning, then turned to glare at Sandrock. He says you are his friend. Are you lying? She demanded, glaring at Sandrock. No. Why would I make a lie? I will show you who I am, Sandrock says as he began to revert back into a human, revealing it to be none other than Naruto Uzumaki. Both of them widened their eyes to great lengths, seeing that it was him. Who was that machine and defeated 2 members of the Akatsuki so easy? Naruto! Both shouted in surprise. In the flesh, he replied as they looked at his appearance, and noticed his eyes were no longer blue but were green. You were that machine? Temari asked as he nodded. Yes. I was Sandrock, Naruto said as he began to explain his bloodline, about becoming 6 machines that are called Gundams, and that he is a leader of an organization called the White Fawn, and that he wishes to offer Gaara and Suna an alliance. Gaara of course accepted, and also accepted the Maganak Corps as the guardians and protectors of Suna and Wind Country. Well, it's a good thing you are alive, Naruto. So are you planning on staying around Suna? Asked Gaara. I'm afraid not. I have other matters that I must attend to. I came here to save you. Spring Country needs me, Naruto says as he gave Gaara a communication device. If you ever need anything, contact me with this. I'll be going, Naruto says, turning away and morphed back into his Sandrock form, leaving the room. What are we to do about the Konoha teams that came here to rescue you? His sister asked while he scowled at the mention of Konoha. They are not welcomed here. Tell them they can leave, he said as she nodded and left to go tell the Konoha squads. Suna Gates. Remember your orders. And listen to Gaara, since I've given you all to him. We are now alliance with Suna, Sandrock says as the Maganak Corps all nodded and saluted at Sandrock, who turned around and left flying into the sky and went elsewhere. Just who is he? And why is he leaving his men behind? Questioned Sakura as the others shrugged. Temari came forward. Is the Kazekage awake? Kakashi asked as she nodded. About time. Let's see if we can finally have an alliance, Sasuke says, but Temari stops him there. That's not possible. You all are no longer welcome here, she said, shocking them. What? But why? Screeched Sakura as Temari glared at her. You should know why. Suna will not form an alliance with Konoha. We are now involved with a brand new alliance. Leave, she says with disdain. Won't the Kazekage reconsider? We came here in hopes of saving him and getting a possible alliance, Kakashi says, but she shook her head. No. My brother is very angry with Konoha still. You banished his friend Naruto, and for that he will never forgive you, she said with them flinching. Sasuke looked ready to say something only for his sensei to stop him, and shook his head as they noticed the Maganak Corps look at them. Well, at least we tried. Let's go team, let's tell the unyouthful news to Hokage-sama, said Guy as his team decides to leave, as did Team 7, seeing that they failed in not getting an alliance with Suna, which could mean doom for their village. Akatsuki HQ a few days later. So Deidara and Sasori too, how unfortunate, Pain says in an emotionless tone. This is getting way out of hand. First Haiden and Kakazu, now Deidara and Sasori, says Conan. We need to figure out who exactly took out all four of them. Have Zetsu look into this, Pain commanded as she nodded and left. Which will mean he will have to depend on Itachi and Kisame to look for the Jinchuriki. But no one knows where they are now. It's like they vanished and don't want to be seen. Wherever they are, they can't hide forever, and not from a god. Because he will obtain true peace once he captures them. Konoha. Having returned to the village to report their failure, they knew now that this village is finished. And it was all because they banished Naruto. Hokage Tower. The Kazekage has declined our alliance, says Kakashi with Tsunade lowering her head, knowing what this means now. I see. Let's start up a meeting to inform everyone that we are on our own in this war, said Tsunade. But there is something we would like to share, Hokage-sama. The Kazekage was rescued by a giant machine, says Kakashi with Tsunade and Shizen looking wide-eyed as Team 7 gave a description on what Sandrock looked like along with these other machines. The council will be very interested in hearing this. Let's go, she says. Konoha Council Chamber. All the clan heads, civilian council, and teams are present to give the information for the council. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kazekage has declined our alliance. We are truly doomed and alone, says Tsunade, with everyone looked shocked as the civilian council shouted in protest. The village elder scowled hearing this. So what do we do now? Said Inochi. I'm afraid there is no hope for this village. We will have to fight this triple alliance against Orochimaru, IWA, and Kumo, said Shikaku. We cannot give up. The will of fire grows strong within us, Hamura says with Koharu and Danzo nodding. Will of fire? That's a joke. Want to know why? Because we banished a promising shinobi who completed his mission, and we lost so many alliances because of that, Tsunade says with sarcasm in her voice, glaring at the council and elders who were responsible for this mess that they are in. The elders in the civilian council grumbled, not liking the blame that was put on them for their many losses of every alliance Naruto had brought to them. Though, I believe Team 7 has something they'd like to share to us, Tsunade added as she let Kakashi have the floor. When we made it to Suna, we encountered giant machines with weapons that we never knew that existed. We encountered the machine that calls itself Sandrock. Kakashi would state his report. Sandrock? What was the machine like? Asked Koharu as her teammates seemed interested. Kakashi would tell description of Sandrock and its impressive weapons even though he never saw or in action. Everyone seemed intrigued by this. And Suna still refuses our alliance? Spoke some, wondering was this it? No. I heard Temari says they found a new alliance. That Sandrock machine must have convinced Suna to become an alliance with him, Sasuke would say with everyone looking down and grumbling. How could a machine get an alliance? Questioned Danzo with everyone shrugging. And more importantly, what is this alliance this Sandrock machine is in? Pondered Tsunade. I believe I can answer that, spoke a voice, and everyone was surprised that it was Jiraiya. Jiraiya! Shouted Tsunade. I've had my spies look in on this alliance those machines are in, he says with everyone raising their eyebrows. Machines? Are you saying there is more than one? Asked a stunned Tsunade. Yes. But my spies only seen 3 of these machines, Jiraiya would say as he would bring in a projector and took out 3 images. The first image was an image of Wing Zero and Kiri battling the Mizuki's forces. Then he showed the next image of Heavy Arms in Taki village. Then the last image was Death Scythe Hell spotted in the Kumo regions. These images were taken 3 years ago by my spies as they have done some digging on where they come from. Turns out the one that resembles an angel had ended the Kiri civil war and helped the rebels win the said war. But what you don't know of that I may have a theory on where these machines come from, Jiraiya says with everyone thinking the same thing. You can't mean dash. Hamura was the first to say as he caught on it. Spring Country, with Jiraiya nodding. And I have more information. I have sent spies to Spring Country to investigate. And boy, Spring Country sure has a lot of power, he said, now showing the next images of Spring Country, showing the factories and more giant machines with double miniguns and weapons that are way advanced. New airships and more weapons. There was silence in the council chamber, as they had to see what Spring Country has at their disposal. Having airships, giant battle airships, giant machines with weapons far beyond any other nation. Danzo and his teammates could only scowl at so much power that Spring Country has. Power that should belong to them and Konoha. The council instantly erupted in outrage. How could Spring Country become so powerful? Without us knowing! Screamed a merchant. We must send our shinobi to steal plans of having those weapons! Shouted Koharu. They all started yelling in outrage and jealousy and fear of what Spring Country could do to them. Shut the fuck up! Yelled Tsunade as they instantly shut up. Since we now witness what they have, I doubt anyone is stupid enough to fight Spring Country now. Or fight this alliance, could the White Fang, said Jiraiya with everyone looking at him. So that's the name of the alliance? Do you know of the leader? Asked Shikaku with Jiraiya shaking his head. I'm afraid not. My spies in Spring Country aren't able to, they didn't want to blow their cover, he answered. So what are we to do? Says Hayashi looking at his fellow clan heads. I would say we could try asking Spring Country for an alliance one last time and ask for the White Fang organization's help in this war, Jiraiya suggested. The Spring Daimyo is only going to decline. She tore up our alliance when we banished Uzumaki Naruto, said Shinbai. We have to at least try. This is our final chance in getting an alliance with the White Fang, Jiraiya says as he glanced at Tsunade along with everyone else. She sighed. Let's just hope we can do this. Jiraiya. You, Team 9, 7 and 10 go to Spring Country and try to at least plead an alliance with Spring Country and White Fang. Tsunade gave the order, as he nodded as they decided to leave and pack up to leave for Spring Country. The council is dismissed, she says with everyone leaving. I need a drink. Any word from Team 8 yet? Asked Tsunade with Shizen shaking her head. I hope they are okay, she says, hoping her student Hinata is okay. All they had to do now is hope Spring Country and the White Fang Alliance lets them form an alliance, if not they are doomed. Spring Country. Having returned, Naruto heads to the daimyo castle back to see Koiki. When he got there she was not alone, Yujito and Full were already there talking with Koiki. Naruto-kun, you're back, says a happy Fu, making Koiki and Yujito turn to the blonde man. Yeah, I'm back, he says with a wide smile as Fu and Yujito ran to him, hugging him as he in turn hugged them back. So how's your new Gundam coming along, Fu-chan? He asked her as she beamed. I love my new Gundam. It rocks, she exclaimed. The makers built her very own Gundam since they were not able to gift her the Gundam Bloodline Naruto has. She pilots the Gundam Leopard, a heavy-armed Gundam similar to Naruto's heavy arms Gundam form. Yujito still loves her Liger Zero model. She had the makers do a few modifications to her mobile Liger. Han still has the Destroyer DOM mobile suit. Every day there are new weapons and new machines being built in Spring Country. And these new weapons, mobile suits, giant battle airships, a whole armada enough to invade the elemental nations, Zoids, and other machines that are still in progress. So how were things at Suna? Koyuki asked as Naruto looked at her with a smile. It went well. Though I had a run-in with Team 7 and Konoha, he said with her narrowing her eyes, as did Yujito and Fu. Yujito and Fu, like Koyuki, hated Konoha for what they did to Naruto, and could never forgive them for banishing their shared boyfriend just for doing his job. They were pissed when they learned of how and why he was banished. Did they see you? Koyuki asked. No. I was still in my Sandrock form. They didn't suspect it was me, he told her as her anger vanished. She still hasn't forgiven Konoha and never will. Well, that's good. So now that you're home? She says with him coming to her, and has his arm around her. We'll all go on a date. Let's go out to dinner in the village, Naruto would say as they looked happy at that. As they all walked away to go out to dinner with Jiraiya and Ko, they were on their way to Spring Country. But since Spring Country isn't going to let them in, it's going to take them like 3 days to get to Spring Country, as they are now currently on a boat to get there. Jiraiya looks straight ahead. What's on your mind? He heard Kakashi say as the Toad Sage turned around and gave the one-eyed Jonin a glare. I'm thinking about the brat, he says with Kakashi looking down at that. He and Jiraiya weren't on good terms with one another. Now why was that? Because right after Naruto was banished, and when word reached to Jiraiya, the Toad Sage was furious and was restrained from killing the council. After that, he and Kakashi got into a heated argument on why he didn't defend Naruto's actions when the Uchiha brat struck Naruto 2 times with the Chidori. Jiraiya stated, if anything, Sasuke should be banished or executed for leaving the village, was Jiraiya's words. Kakashi felt like he owed it to Obito to look after his last clansman. Right after that, Jiraiya and Kakashi got into a fight when he heard Kakashi utter those words. It took a squad of Umbu to restrain the two. Hell, even Tsunade had to restrain Jiraiya from killing Kakashi. After that heated fight and argument, Jiraiya left the village, not wanting nothing to do with it after they banished Naruto. Even at this moment, they still weren't on good terms with one another. Oh, Kakashi would say. I know he's out there somewhere. Just don't know where. He and the other Jinchuriki who weren't caught by the Akatsuki just vanished, Jiraiya would say as he had his spies on a lookout for Naruto and kept tabs on other Jinchuriki who could have been possible targets for the Akatsuki. So far, the Akatsuki obtained the 4 tails 3 years ago. The Sanbai is back and is somewhere in Kiri in the ocean since Wing Zero defeated it along with Yagura. They nearly had the 1 tails taken but was stopped by Sandrock. The 8 tails Jinchuriki is in Kumo, while the 2 tails Jinchuriki went missing. Taki's 7 tails Jinchuriki along with Iwa's 5 tails Jinchuriki had went missing. The 6 tails is in Kiri in hiding. Naruto is missing and no one knows where he is. Jiraiya hoped the boy was okay. He may have not done much for the boy but wanted to do something. Kakashi remained silent and looked away. He will have to admit that he failed as a sensei to Naruto, and regretted abandoning him in favor of Sasuke. But at the time he couldn't abandon Sasuke either because he felt like he owed it to Obito. He couldn't follow his own motto. Minato would have never forgiven you for abandoning his son for the Uchiha, hissed Jiraiya, making Kakashi wince and flinch at that but surprisingly glare at the Toad Sage. Oh? I'm sure Minato-sensei would never forgive you for not looking after Naruto either. If I recall, weren't you his godfather? Spat Kakashi with Jiraiya narrowing his eyes at the Jonin. I had my reasons to not look after him. I had a spy network to manage. On top of it, look out for Orochimaru and other possible threats that could attack Konoha. Sarutobi-sensei assured me that Naruto would be okay in his hands. I couldn't take him with me knowing Iwa or Kumo might trace the dots, knowing that Naruto is Minato's son and would do everything in their power to kill Naruto out of spite to Minato. Jiraiya shot back. While he was not proud of what he's done, he felt like it was the best and the safest way for Naruto to stay in Konoha protected instead of taking the boy with him and raise him, knowing that he couldn't do all of that. The man lost his student in the Kyuubi attack. His ex-teammate is running amok doing evil twisted things. Then there's the Akatsuki nabbing after Jinchuriki, then manage his spy network. He couldn't afford to raise Naruto with so much on his shoulders, yet he promised he would make it up to the brat somehow. Kakashi glared at the Toad Sage but said nothing as he turned and walked off. Jiraiya also glared at his retreating form, turning away, looking to the sky. "Just where are you, brat?" Jiraiya would say. "With Team 8. Team 8 is currently on the run and is trying to escape from a platoon of Kumoanbu." "Let's keep going!" yelled Kurenai, who ran as fast as she could with Shino, and Hinata running with her, as was Kiba, who was on Akamaru. The team were on a scouting mission only to find it was a trap from Kumo to try capturing Hinata Hyuga. Hinata and her team fought as many Kumoanbu as they could, but they were outnumbered and were forced to run. "Don't let them get away! Especially the Hyuga heiress!" shouted a Kumoanbu captain. As they continued to pursue the team, a platoon of 50 Kumoanbu. One Kumoanbu tossed a kunai with an exploding tag at the group. Before they could go any further, the explosion knocked them away. "Oh no! Here they come!" shouted Kiba as they saw the platoon approach. "Akamaru, go! You must warn the Hokage!" Kiba said to his dog companion, who whined yet nodded to go do just that. "Forget the mutt. We already got them. The Reikage will be most pleased that we finally caught a Hyuga that is not branded," said the captain as they caught Team 8 and put them in cuffs and chains. "Be strong. Remain calm," says Kurenai at her team. Hinata ignored the leers the Kumoanbu were giving her as her and her team were being taken back to Kumo. "Naruto-kun, where are you?" were her thoughts. With Jiraiya and Ko. For the next 3 hours they got ashore and got to the border of Spring County to widen their eyes, seeing lots of mobile suits on patrol. "Whoa, look at the size of them! Almost bigger than the Hokage Tower," said Tenten, with others nodding. "What youthful machines Spring County has," remarked Guy. "We need to get moving," Jiraiya says as they nodded in agreement as they would lay low and move quietly, getting around the patrols they needed to get to the entrance to Spring Country. However, little did they know drones were in the sky caught their movement and sent a silent alarm. Before they could go any further, 4 mobile suits with double miniguns stopped them in their tracks. "Oh no, we've been spotted!" says Sakura with fear on her face along with everyone else. The destroyer DOM mobile suit landed holding its trademark bazooka. "Stand down, Konoha Shinobi, and surrender. Sudden movements, and you will be destroyed on the spot for trespassing," said Han through his DOM mobile suit. "We have to surrender," says Asuma as he and his team got on their knees with hands begin their heads, same with Team Guy. Even Team 7 did the same thing, with Jiraiya doing the same. "Take them away. Let's report this to the Spring Daimyo," commanded Han as his troops in his mobile suits had taken them. Meanwhile, with Naruto. Naruto is at dinner with his girlfriends. Now eating at the Spring Dragon luxury restaurant. Now eating their dessert and is talking while laughing and smiling. "Enjoyed the meal, ladies?" Naruto asked, with the 3 smiling and nodding. "Of course we did. They have the best fish here," commented Yujito with Fu smiling wide. Koyoki had ramen with Naruto. "Yes, dinner was good. Enjoyed it," Koyoki says. Naruto's phone ringed as he picked it up. "Yes, Colonel-an?" he said. "I'm sorry to disturb you and your girlfriends, Naruto-sama, but Lieutenant Han has captured unwanted guests here on the border to Spring Country," Colonel-an says, with Naruto on the other end narrowing his eyes, hoping she wasn't implying who just so happened to step on his doorstep to Spring. "Who are they?" he asked in a hard tone. "Konoha Shinobi," she answered. His eyes narrowed further. "What are your orders, sir?" she asked. "Bring them to the Daimyo Castle. We'll be right there," he says as he hanged up. "What's wrong?" Koyoki asked. "Konoha Shinobi are here. Let's get going," he says as the 3 girls narrowed their eyes. How dare they show their faces here? Daimyo Throne Room. Naruto and Koyoki sat on their thrones with Fu and Yujito standing beside them. The doors opened, revealing Han with 3 Konoha teams and Jiraiya along with Oz soldiers pointing their weapons at them. Once the Konoha group got there, their eyes widened looking at the one person they did not expect to see here. "Naruto," said Jiraiya with wide eyes. "You know, if I was my old self, this would have been a very touching little reunion. But of course, I'm not my old self, and I would like to know what the hell are you all doing here?" Naruto spat with a glare at those who were once his friends. "Throne room." "No, it can't be," said Sakura, who looked shocked. "And they are Naruto!" shouted Kakashi, widening his eye. Team 10 and 9 were stunned and shocked at who was before them. "Naruto-kun," says Lee, while Tenten and Niji remained silent, too stunned to say anything. "No way," said Ino with wide eyes, as were Shikamaru and Choji. Asuma and Guy looked at the blonde teen with silence. Jiraiya looked like he had been hit by the Rasengan seeing his godson. "The dobe!" thought Sasuke angrily at his rival. "This is Naruto? But what happened to his eyes? They were blue? Why are they green?" thought Jiraiya, who stares at Naruto's angry glare, and his surprise increases when he sees the other two Jinchuriki, the 2 tails and the 7 tails, including the 5 tails, meaning the Jinchuriki have been in Spring Country this whole time, including Naruto. "Now I'm going to ask again, what are you all doing here?" Naruto asks with a glare at all of them. Same with Koiki, Yujito and Fu, with Han keeping a close eye on them, especially the Toad Sage. The Konoha group were stunned and didn't know what to do or say. They were too shocked at seeing the most unpredictable shinobi here in spring, and with their daimyo no less. Jiraiya began to say something. "And our Naruto, look, we can explain on why we came here," he says. "You should already know that Spring Country tore up the alliance we once had, Jiraiya. The moment I've been banished, you should have no reason to come here. You dare trespass on my new home!" Naruto growled with his green eyes glowing as the group flinched at his anger and tone. "Please, Naruto, hear us out," said Sakura, hoping she could reason with him. She flinched at the glare he sent her. "Please, Naruto, let us explain why we are here," says Jiraiya, hoping for the boy to listen. "Out with it then," hissed Koiki, who looked ready to have her samurai to execute them on the spot. "Please, Naruto, we need you and Spring Country's help against the triple alliance of Orochimaru, Kumo, and IWA. They are declaring war on us, and we have no other allies to help us fight and defend our home. Suna is already in alliance with this White Fang organization that's here in Spring. Please, we were hoping to plead an alliance with Spring and the White Fang to help us in our time of need," says Jiraiya, with Naruto and his girls frowning and exchanging looks at one another. "Tell me, Jiraiya. Give me one good reason on why I should help Konoha. Why should my organization help you? Why should I help the villagers who hated me since the day I was born?" yelled Naruto, glaring at the Toad Sage while the others blinked and looked shocked. "Wait, you're the leader of the White Fang," said Kakashi, who looked shocked. "Indeed I am. Now answer my question," said Naruto with a glare. Jiraiya sighed as he looked at the angry glare his former student sent him. "Because it's your home, Naruto. Don't you care about the people who never hated you? Would you abandon them to their deaths?" he says, with Naruto sighing. As he remembered a few people who told him goodbye on the day of his banishment, he wouldn't want them killed by Kumo, IWA, or Orochimaru. Maybe he'll bring those who do not deserve to die to come here to his village and live here. Only those who were by my side I care about. The rest who abandoned me can die," Naruto says, with the Konoha group gasping in shock at his words. "Come on, Naruto! We are your friends. Don't do this to us," yelled Ino. "Bullshit! Real friends help each other out and defend one another. All of you turned your back on me for that prick of a Uchiha who's with you," Naruto growled, with Sasuke glaring at him. "What did you call me, dope dash?" Sasuke was about to say, but his mouth was covered by Kakashi. "Please, Naruto, we are sorry that we abandoned you. But please, Konoha needs dash," Kakashi said, but Naruto glared at him. "Sorry? None of you are sorry or don't know the meaning of that word. You couldn't even follow your own motto, sensei," spat Naruto, saying sensei with venom, making Kakashi flinch. "My parents would have been ashamed of you all," he says, making Kakashi and Jiraiya widen their eyes. "How did you know?" the Toad Sage asked. Apparently I found out that my parents were none other than Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze. The Yondaime was my father, Naruto said, with others gasping and dropping their jaws that Naruto is the son of the Yondaime. They banished the son of the Yondaime. Oh my Kami! What have we done? Whispered Shikamaru. Unbelievable, said Tenten, who couldn't believe that Naruto is the son of the Yondaime. Niji felt his jaw hit the floor, with Lee looking wide-eyed. Sakura looked like she had been hit in the face hearing this. Ino looked completely taken back by all of this. Sai showed no reaction. Sasuke glared at his rival. Asuma and Guy exchanged glances at one another, knowing that they are in deep shit now. So the old man has been lying to me all along. Not just him, but also my two sensei's friends knew as well. And didn't bother to tell me. He glared angrily. Naruto, please understand, the reason we couldn't tell you was because your father and mother had many enemies. If they knew that you are their son, they would do anything in their power to kill you, Jiraiya explained. So when was you going to tell me who my parents are? Or my clan? Godfather? Naruto asks with anger on his face. The Dobe has a clan, shouted Sasuke. Yes. The Uzumaki clan. Thought about keeping that from me too, Naruto says, with Jiraiya and others too shocked. How? asked Jiraiya. I learned from the new Mizukage, who told me about my clan when I ended the civil war in Kiri, Naruto said, with Jiraiya looking confused. You ended Kiri? How? I thought that wing machine ended it, Jiraiya says, with Naruto smirking. Does it matter who ended it? Naruto says. Naruto-kun, what are we going to do with them? Asked Cookie, who couldn't stand the sight of these Konoha shinobi. Lock them up in prison for 6 days. Then they go home to report their failure in getting an alliance. But I'm going to write some demands I want, since you all had the gall to trespass. Han, take them away, Naruto commanded, with him nodding as the others screamed in protest. Naruto, please! We need you! Screamed Sakura as she was being pulled by a soldier. Please, Naruto, don't do this! Shouted Jiraiya, who was being taken away. The nerve of them! Commented Yujito with full nodding. Should have executed them if you asked me, Koiki says with an angry look. No. Let their enemies kill them. They dug their own grave by banishing me anyway, so it's their fault, Naruto says. Konoha one night later. Tsunade is currently working on paperwork, while hoping Jiraiya at least gained an alliance with Spring Country and White Fang. But should they reject the alliance, they are completely on their own in this war. If she had just gained a backbone and prevented Naruto from being banished, this wouldn't have happened to them. She sighed, grabbing a sake bottle from her stash. That was until Tsum barged in, shocking her. Tsum? What's wrong? She asked. Akamaru returned to me. Teammate has been captured by Kumo, she yelled, with Tsunade widened her eyes. What? She immediately began writing a note to Jiraiya to inform him. She had her slug take the note to Jiraiya. Spring Country Prison. It was morning, as all 3 Konoha teams have been imprisoned, including Jiraiya and the Jonins. Jiraiya sat in a lone cell with a grim look. He knew by the time they returned home, Konoha will be on its deathbed. Katsuyu the slug appeared on his thigh as he received a note from Tsunade. He thanked the slug and opened the note, reading its contents only to widen his eyes. Oh no! I need to see Naruto immediately! He yelled. With Naruto enjoying his breakfast with his girlfriends, he was interrupted by Han, who appeared. What's the matter? Naruto asks. It's Jiraiya the Toad Sage. He requests a presence with you, he says, with Naruto scoffing. If it's about coming to save Konoha from its destruction, no thanks, Naruto says, eating his bacon. He says it's urgent and that it involves a girl named Hinata, Han says, with Naruto stopped eating and turned to Han. What does he mean? Naruto asks with a frown. He says if you're not willing to come see him, he wanted me to give you this, Han says, giving the note to Naruto, who opened it and read it only to widen then narrowed his green eyes. Free them. But keep them in cuffs, making those around him blink. "What's wrong?" asks Koike. "Hinata Hyuga has been captured by Kumo. We're going to save her," he says, getting up from his table. "What are the orders?" Yujito asks. "Rescue Hinata and her team. And destroy Kumo," Naruto commanded, with others looking wide-eyed at this. "We're bringing in the teams and Jiraiya to show them why they should not cross or mess with us," Naruto says, turning to Han. "Tell Colonel Un to bring the prisoners on my personal flagship, the Raging Whirlpool." "Han!" Naruto commanded, with the big man nodded and walked off as Naruto turns to both Yujito and Fu. "Ready our troops and 5 giant battle airships. Let's get a move on," Naruto commanded, with both of them nodding, and left to go do just that. "Be safe, Naruto-kun," Koike says as he nodded. In less than 40 minutes, Naruto's mega battle airship, the Raging Whirlpool, took to the sky along with several mobile suits on board. Behind the ship was 5 other battle airships with 2 other ships that personally belonged to Yujito and Fu. The Hellcat and the Doom Beetle airships. On the Hellcat battleship, Yujito's Liger Zero model is on board, while on Fu's ship, the Doom Beetle, her Leopard Gundam is on board. Han was on board Naruto's ship with Colonel Un and Major Salipa. "We're coming, Hinata," he says, now outside his ship. Jiraiya and the others on the bridge guarded by our soldiers along with Han and Colonel Un. "And the show is about to start," says Lady Un, looking at Naruto, with others looking confused. "How do you mean?" asked Kakashi. "Watch and see," she replied, pointing at Naruto. As they watched, Naruto's green eyes glowed as a bright green light enveloped around him as he grew several stories tall, now taking the appearance of a dark red Gundam that looked menacingly and sinister. Red wings, golden claws, a whip of some sorts mounted on a shield. Naruto had transformed into Epion. Those who witnessed dropped their jaws in complete shock and horror that Naruto is one of the machines. "So he's finally using the Gundam form Epion. This the first time I've seen him bring out Epion," Lady Un remarks, with others still stunned that Naruto of all people is one of those machines. Epion jumps off the ship and transforms into its aerial dragon form and took off. "Kumo ATM. The Reikijai grinned. His men finally caught a Hyuga, the Hyuga heiress no less. Now he finally start a Hyuga clan here in his village, and he will be the first to bed with her. It's a waste that Yujito had vanished. Not that it mattered anymore, he has be here. Who's much stronger than her. Bring me the Hyuga," he would say as his shinobi did as told. Explosions were heard, which made him jump in alert as he looked out at his window and widened his eyes at what was in the sky. A armada in the sky, along with several mobile suits dropping from the sky. "Sound the alarm! We are being attacked!" he yelled. "Is everyone in position?" asked Epion in Zek's voice. "Yes, sir. Raging Whirlpool is on standby for orders, including all battleships. Hellcat team is on standby as well," replied Yujito, already in her Liger Zero model. "Doom Beetle team is on standby," says Fu in her Leopard Gundam. "The mission is simple. I'll rescue Hinata and her team, then fight the Reikage," Epion says. "We should be on the lookout for Karabi. He holds the 8 tails, and he can transform into his bijou form," Yujito warned. "Noted. I leave you and Fu to deal with him. Convince him to join us, if not then he might as well die," Epion says back. "Once everything is finished, commence Buster Call on the whole village," Epion said as he was the first to charge into the village with his heat rod whip. Hundreds of mobile suits followed him. The Liger Zero jumped off the Hellcat battleship along with 5 mobile suits dropping into Kumo. The Gundam Leopard on the Doom Beetle battleship jumped off and landed with 4 mobile suits with beam cannons. Epion lashed his heat rod whip into 3 buildings, making them fall on the Kumo shinobi and its villagers, who screamed in terror. The Liger Zero shot missiles and machine guns at the shinobi, who were blasting it with jutsus. The Gundam Leopard aimed its Gatling gun and fired everywhere at shinobi and the buildings while firing hidden rockets. "Where are you, Reikage of Kumo? Come fight me!" yelled Epion. The carnage kept going. Mobile suits shooting weapons at every building and shinobi who tried fighting them. Shinobi cried in terror seeing the many deaths of their fallen comrades who are destroyed by these machines. With Yujito and Fu, both of them and their squads are taking out Kumo Umbu and Shinobi rank that are Jonin or Chunin. C was leading them. He and his men tried to hold off the Liger Zero only to be blasted by missiles from the machine Liger, and he did not survive. Fu was using all her weapons barrage upon the Shinobi and Umbu who tried to hit her with lightning-based jutsus. Derry and 4 platoons of Umbu were with him as he went through a few hand seals. Storm release, laser circus! He shouted, blasting an energy wave at some of the mobile suits coming his way, destroying them and the pilots who were inside it. Yeah! Shouted Akumo Chunin. Way to go, Darui-sama! See if you can fire at one of those airships, said Akumo Jonin. Darui fired another, and this time it hit one of Naruto's battle airships, causing it to fall and then crash, exploding on impact. Lady An narrowed her eyes at seeing one of their ships get destroyed. Fire all weapons! Down on that village where that attack came from! She commanded as they fired their cannons and missiles down. Darai and his men widened their eyes. Everyone take cover! He shouted as he and his men all scattered while some of them did not make it and died. Han is currently in his Rikdom mobile suit flanked by 2 Gelgoogs and a Blue Goof mobile suit with a Gatling shield. Orders, Commander Han? Says Captain Norris Packard, who is piloting his Goof Custom. Not yet. We wait further orders, Han says. The Konoha group could only watch with wide eyes and great horror of what was happening to Kumo. So much destruction, so much power, and so much death. On the battlefield, 3 Kumo Umbus unleashed 3 lightning dragon jutsus upon 2 Zaku's, destroying them, while a squadron was being blasted by beam rays from 3 Gelgoogs firing their beam rifles. 1 Zaku fired a bazooka at a building, causing it to fall on a platoon of Chunins. Serpent mobile suits sprayed everywhere with their double Gatling gun arms, hitting every shinobi that was in their sights. 1 Gelgoog got its head blown off by a lightning bullet jutsu, as it fell on the ground and exploded. A custom Gelgoog was leading the assault with 4 other Gelgoogs and 6 Zakus to eliminate the next platoon of Umbu. Back with Yujito and Fu, B had encountered them in his Bijou form as he crushed multiple mobile suits with its tentacles. Yujito's squad got wiped out. Fu only has 2 Zaku mobile suits standing besides her since the other mobile suits were crushed by B in his 8 tails form. Surrender, Kurebi! We don't want to hurt you, says Yujito in her Liger Zero model suit, with Fu aiming her Gatling gun at him. Yujito? Why are you doing this? You killing your own people, B says through Gyuki. I'm doing this because what Kumo is doing is wrong. Don't you get it? For years they've been trying to get the Byukugen just so they can make their own Hyuga clan. They are nothing but rapists, she declared within her Liger Zero, glaring at B. Reinforcements came to aid their commanders. 7 Gelgoogs, 6 Zakus and 10 Serpent mobile suits aiming their weapons at B. Come on, Yugi! Stop this! There's no need for us to fight, B says, seeing the extra reinforcements. No, B. Surrender and join us. Don't make us destroy you, Yujito warned while her and Fu's reinforcements waited for the command to open fire. Never, Yugi! I'll have to knock some sense into you, B says through Gyuki's voice. Take him down, Yujito commanded as they all opened fire at B, who dodged and weaved in his tailed beast form as he jumped at the squadron and unleashed all 8 tentacles at them. In the process he crushed 3 Zakus and 2 Serpent mobile suits. 1 Gelgoog attempted to cut its tentacles off with its double beam blade only to get smacked away into a building and exploded. Fu unleashed her whole barrage on B. Yujito fired her weapons as well and unsheathed her Liger blades. With Epion. Epion was still in his relentless bloodbath, going so fast and dominated every shinobi and Umbu he encountered with his heat rod whip. He unsheathed his beam sword and enlarged the emerald blade and unleashed a mighty slash across every building and downwards on every shinobi. Fall back! Fall back! Shouted a Umbu captain as he and his men began to fall back, but Epion followed them and mercilessly slew them in half waist down, killing them. He dodged a couple of lightning base's jutsus, and quickly flew to them and ended them with his beamed sword. Explosions and fire erupted throughout Epion's wake of destruction as he stood there menacingly. The Raikage glared at the Red Devil that killed a good portion of his shinobi along with killing its civilians and destroying his village. Epion's green eyes glowed in intimidation at the Raikage. "I don't know who you are or what you are, but you are going to pay dearly for this," the Raikage I says, taking off his coat and got into a stance. Epion suddenly shrinks to human size and sheathed its beam blade and got into a stance as well. Gundam Wing OSD, The Legend of Zero. The Raikage moved first, and the man was fast as lightning, as the rumors say he is when it came to fighting his enemies. Raising his large fist charged with lightning along with the rest of his body, and it was clear he wanted to end Epion. But surprisingly, Epion caught the fist and ignored the lightning as he jousted its golden claws at the Raikage, who moved away just in time away from them. The Raikage bore a look of surprise. This machine, this demon, was able to ignore the lightning that would have inflicted upon him. "What are you?" was his thoughts that were broke when he saw Epion charge at him with his heat rod whip, which glowed bright red. Epion lashed his whip at Ai, who dodged quick as Epion chased after him with it, swinging it. From above on board the raging whirlwind flagship, the onlookers were watching the fight between Naruto and the Raikage with eyes wide as dinner plates. "I can't believe it, he's actually going toe-to-toe with the Raikage," says Jiraiya, with others stunned watching this unbelievable moment. Sasuke was getting jealous. "The dobe is stronger than him, bah. He's nothing without that armor." I ducked, dodged, and evaded the heat rod whip. He managed to dash towards Epion and punch him hard in the face, which of course made the man cringe and clutched his hand. "What the hell? What is his armor made of?" was his thoughts in shock, feeling his hand in pain. Backing up, growing, he powered himself up and coated himself in lightning. He charged at Epion. "Take this!" he shouted, and with great speed he punched Epion dead in the torso, sending the Red Devil straight into a nearby building. He coated himself in lightning chakra mode and dashed after Epion. He grabbed Epion and lifted him with all his strength. "Liger Bomb!" He smashes Epion head first onto the ground, causing a power bomb-like explosion devastating enough to shatter a large area of the ground itself on impact. He huffed and puffed. Those on the airship looked shocked. Epion laid there unmoving. "Not so tough, are you? You son of a bitch?" he huffed, glaring at the Red Devil, who still laid there motionless. Epion's eyes glowed green, which surprised the Raikage in shock and horror. How was that possible? No one or nothing could survive his most devastating attack. Before he could do anything, Epion lashed his heat rod whip at Ai's left forearm, amputating the Raikage, who screamed, feeling his arm being cut off. "Never again. Will you and your village take my precious people as breeding stock? Today is your judgment day, Raikage," spoke Epion in Zek's voice. As he lashed on his heat rod whip around Ai's legs and tossed the man up in the air, glaring at him, and suddenly opened fire from his headgear guns, shooting Ai point blank as Epion boosted up and unsheathed his beamed sword and swinged it across Ai's waist, slashing him in half. The Raikage gave out a pained scream as he could feel himself being removed from his legs and fell right down as death took him. Others who watched turned green and looked horrified at the death of Ai. Epion flew off to go find the prison of where Hinata and Team 8 would be at. "Lady An, tell the others to prepare the buster call in 10 minutes. Tell our troops to fall back. And get on board, we're going to turn this place into a crater," Epion says. "Acknowledged," she replied. The Kumo prison. Kurenai. Shino, Hinata and Kiba were wondering what was going on outside the prison, and in the village they heard lots of explosions. "What do you think is happening, Kurenai-sensei?" asked Hinata. "I don't know," she replied. That was until a giant mechanical fist punched their wall, giving them a view of who did that. They saw a red machine with green eyes as it raised its hand out to them. "Come with me. We're taking you home," says Epion. As the four exchanged glances at one another and saw that this could be their rescue, as they got on his hand as he flew to the sky, taking them to the raging whirlpool. Chapter end. Tired of watching censored fanfics? Would you like to watch some very naughty, filled with the lemons fanfics without any censorship? I'm happy to announce that I opened Patreon page for you guys, where you could watch Naruto/Deku 18+ stories without any censoring. Not only that, you can also see the NSFW images of characters of the fics on my Patreon, which I make by myself. So buy your preferred tier and join our community now. Link is in the description.